Logan Grimnar is the Great Wolf, or Chapter Master of the Space Wolves chapter. He's one of the most headstrong chapter masters in the Imperium of Man, as well as perhaps the greatest Wolf Lord of all time. Yet he remains absolutely loyal to the Emperor of Mankind and the Great Primarch of the Space Wolves, Leman Russ. Grimnar has been the Great Wolf of the Space Wolves for over 500 of his 700 standard years of his life. Like his fellow Space Marines, Grimnar is a fearsome warrior with great martial pride. He's led his great company, the Champions of Fenris, against many enemies of the Imperium and has shown a renowned thirst for battle, which some would say even rivals that of Leman Russ. Logan, or the Old Wolf, is an extremely powerful warrior who will always fight to the end in pursuit of what he believes in, both in the name of the Emperor and the lives of his beloved Space Wolves. In his 500-year reign, Grimnar has led the Space Wolves to many victories, crushing the enemies of the Imperium without hesitation. As a result of this, many Imperium commanders across the galaxy are grateful to be under the Old Wolf's watchful eye. Logan Grimnar is a rarity against the Space Marine chapter masters, as he is more respected and loved by the commoners of the Imperium than he is feared. This is due to him possessing an uncompromising compassion towards the weak that rivals that of the Emperor himself. He was the only Space Marine leader, with the exception of the Salamanders, to speak out against the Imperium's cult of the civilizations who survived the First War for Armageddon, whom the Inquisition deemed too corrupt to live for having seen the forces of chaos and learned of the existence to both the ruinous powers and the demonic chaos sorcery. Grimnar's hatred for the Inquisition has been forever cemented since these innocent citizens of the Imperium were unceremoniously sterilized and scattered into forced labour camps to reconstruct Armageddon, which were then replaced by a new group of colonists brought by the Inquisition to resettle the Hive World. Since that conflict, the Space Wolves have waged many bloody wars to protect the innocent victims of chaos. Logan Grimnar will always go into a battle with his chosen melee weapon, which is a trophy of war, prized from the cold dead hands of a powerful champion of the Dark Gods. It was upon the battlefields of Armageddon during the First War for Armageddon that the Great Wolf won his fabled axe, amid the blood and fire of the battle on the banks of the river Cheron. After solar hours of bitter fighting, the river ran red with blood, and bodies of the Chaos Cultists and the traitorous Militarum were piled high. World Eater Chaos Space Marines attempted to cross the river in armoured barges over the bridges melded with the bodies of the screaming slaves. The traitors charging across the flesh structures to reach the Space Wolves, seeing a chance to turn the tide of battle. Logan Grimnar had led the Wolf Guard down to the gore-clouded water to meet the Berserk Warriors of Khorne head-on. The Chaos Champion, a core Doomslayer, charged out the ranks of the World Eaters, his rune-encrusted axe cutting down two of Grimnar's Wolf Guard in the span of a few moments. Suddenly, the Great Wolf found himself fighting for his life, Doomslayer's insane fury pushing him back towards the Imperium's defensive line. With an incoherent cry, the Khorne champion struck the flat of Grimnar's frost blade, shattering it into a million glittering shards. But Doomslayer's moment of triumph was also his last, as the Great Wolf lunged into the Executioner's swing, ripping off his skull-face helm with a clawed hand and sinking his fangs into the exposed throat underneath. As Doomslayer fell into the bloody river, Grimnar snatched up the opponent's crimson steel axe, cutting a path back to the Wolfguard through knots of homicidal Khorne berserkers. For the rest of the campaign on Armageddon, Logan fought with this axe, and upon his return to Fenris, he had it reforged, dubbing it the Axe of Morkai. This mighty axe is an ancient artifact, thrumming with the power of the warp. When it was reforged, it was forged with the likeness of the twin-headed Fenrisian wolf god, Morkai, the guardian of the gates of the afterlife in the myths of the people of the Space Wolves' homeland, Fenris. Logan is also renowned for taking a Storm Rider, which is the name of his war chariot that he takes into battle. The Storm Rider is held aloft by anti-gravitic gyrostabilizers, however it has no means of self-propulsion, and thus it has only ever been drawn forth by a pair of giant thunderwolves since the time of Leman Russ. Power fields and runes of enchantment are wrought within the chariot's framework to protect both men and beasts from incoming fire, enabling Storm Rider to bear that old wolf into the heart of the enemy lines unscathed. The ancient war chariot is also outfitted with a built-in hololith projector, allowing the chapter master to direct his forces with ease. Grimnar is amongst the Imperium's deadliest warriors, but when he's pulled by the Thunderwolves, Tarnak and Fenrir, he is nigh unstoppable. Storm Rider's maintenance and caretaking is provided by Logan Grimnar's chosen Iron Priest, Jen's Iron Fist. The most notable campaigns that this Storm Rider has gone into battle: the Vengeance of Gnosis, where Logan Grimnar atop the Storm Rider led the Space Wolves against the war host of Eldar from the craft world of Samhan on the planet Gnosis Prime. Arriving nearly an entire standard year after the beginning of the war, the Space Wolves were unable to save the people of Gnosis, instead fighting a war to avenge them. Two other notable campaigns where Logan Grimnar led the Storm Rider into battle. The first is the Tombs of Midgardia, seeking a shard of the Catan that had escaped his collection millennia ago. Trazyn the Infinite, a Necron overlord and a self-proclaimed archivist of the Solomon's Galleries of the Necron Tomb World of Solomon's, came to the Fenris system world of Midgardia to acquire the shard. Logan Grimnar and the Space Wolves would not suffer the presence of the enemy of the Emperor so close to the chapter's homeworld, and mustered their forces to war. Logan rode upon the Storm Rider for much of the planet-side Battle of Midgardia, disembarking only to enter an ancient Necron tomb pyramid to face Trazyn himself. That wasn't his only tangle with the Necrons. In the battle Riders of the Storm, where Logan Grimnar, majestically atop the Storm Rider, led his great company into the charge that finally breaks the Necron phalanxes of Imhotep the Stormlord. While riding the Storm Rider, Logan Grimnar prefers to use a Kingsguard Stormforce formation. The Kingsguard are the elite of Logan Grimnar's great company, and when he marches to war they stand tall at his side. More than merely a bodyguard, the chosen warriors are the spear tip of Grimnar's thrust into the heart of enemy formations. The Storm Rider is flanked by Wolfguard Terminators mounted in Land Raiders to keep the pace. And when the Great Wolf plunges in combat, the Kingsguard disembark from their transports to join the battle. When the time comes, Grimnar calls forth the wrath of the attached Stormfang gunship, where the devastation of Hellfrost Destructors can turn the tide of battle.